For a lot of people, as I said, speaking is one of their biggest fears. So for those who, experience that fear, but know they might find themselves in leadership positions, or they want to be in leadership positions, but maybe lack that particular skill set, what would be some tips you would give to people to, build that muscle of getting confident speaking on stage?
Well, first I would say I feel you, because I struggled with stage fright for decades.
How?
Yes.
Let's talk tails.
For many people, public speaking is their biggest fear. For some, it can even be within a meeting of colleagues. And if you're the leader of that group, that could be a big problem. So today's guest combines her abilities as a speaker, writer, and performer, as well as her strong background in leadership positions, to coach her clients to bring greater presence, awareness, and skill to all of their communications. She has taken the stage more than 2,000 times as a professional speaker, singer, and actress, including performing for the Super Bowl halftime show with Up With People. She is the author of 2 books, Finding Your Authentic Voice, 7 Practices to Free the Real You and Find Love, Happiness, and Fulfillment, and 10 Flashes of Insight and Inspiration from Your Authentic Voice. It's the expert in finding the authentic voice within you, Andrea Beaulieu. How are you doing?
I'm great. I just love the way you do that. You're just...
Well,
I've been smiling the whole time that you're speaking, Taylor.
When you have wonderful people around you, it's easy to smile.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I would love to know, tell me the tale behind finding your authentic voice.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's such a huge question. I don't know where to start. Well, I guess it starts when I have been self-employed for 38 years. It's hard for me to even believe that, but I started that when I was, my son was born. And I did what I knew how to do, which was PR and marketing and community relations. And I did all of that kind of work for other companies. And then when he was born, I'm like, not going to do that now. And I started to experiment with being a consultant. And you know what that's like. And I was fortunate that I would have some pretty steady gigs at that time. Companies that would hire me as a contracted marketing or writer person for years and years. And then things changed. In around 2008, when we hit that big financial crisis, companies were not hiring people for long-term gigs. And if you didn't have a sales focus, it was hard. And so I really went into an exploration mode. And I took a look at, what am I good at? What have I got experience in? What do I care about? What do I always bring to whatever I do? And I decided, I think I'll be a professional speaker. I know how to get on stage. I know how to perform. I'm a writer. I know how to communicate. And I went through the process of beginning that. And you have to have a signature speech. So when I looked at what is my signature speech, what do I really want people to know that they have within them that is uniquely theirs and that I would want them to discover and work from, and that is your authentic voice. And so I actually went to a branding expert up in Colorado who focused on getting yourself up outside of the noise, being heard above the noise, I think was his brand. And we were going through different brands and what could I look at? And we discovered that your authentic voice had not been taken.
Oh.
So I went, and so what do you know? And so I went through the whole trademarking process and got your authentic voice and developed my speech. And I actually did the speech for a couple of years before I put it into a book. So the book actually followed that. But because as a professional speaker, at the time, one of the things that you needed was to have a book. This was your calling card. Here's my book.
Well, they even say now it's just a good business card to have. It's something that people don't throw away a book. They're going to throw away a business card potentially. But
yeah. And so the aha, one of the indicators that you are listening to your authentic voice is that intuitive brilliance that gives you those ahas.
Okay.
And so the first one, and I didn't want it to be aha as in AHA. It had to be different.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it ha.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing that I did. And then I did finding your authentic voice. So that's how it was born. But it really did kind of incorporate the writer, the speaker, the performer, but most importantly, that intuitive intelligence that we all have and connecting to that and putting that out there.
Okay. Because for a lot of people, as I said, speaking is one of their biggest fears. So for those who, experience that fear, but no, they might find themselves in leadership positions or they want to be in leadership positions, but maybe lack that particular skill set. What would be some tips you would give to people to, build that muscle of getting confident speaking on stage?
Well, first I would say, I feel you because I struggled with stage fright for decades.
How?
Yes. And so I was constantly searching for, how do I deal with this? And I thought forcing myself to go on stage because they'd say, oh, practice makes perfect. Oh, picture people naked. Oh, do all of this kind of stuff. That never worked for me.
How is picturing people naked at all comforting?
It does not work.
It does not work.
Even to this day, I look at some of the things that people put out there on dealing with stage fright or nervousness, and I'm like,
yeah, I think that would make me, I'm not a nervous person on stage, but I think if I had to imagine people in their underwear or imagine people naked, that would make me nervous.
Yeah. It can be very complicated and complex depending on who you are. It can be something that's just butterflies ahead of time, or it can be deep imposter syndrome or fear around that. And so I work with people with stage fright, and I don't ever dismiss or underestimate that because I know what it feels like. It's awful. It's awful. So what I recommend or what I work with people on is to find, how shall I say this? It's important to know that you're enough. Bottom line, it's important to know you're enough. And it's important to know that if you are sharing something that you really believe in, that you know is going to benefit your audience, because that's what it's about, that fear comes from a self-consciousness and a lack of feeling I'm enough. I'm afraid of what they're going to think about me and all of that. But if my focus is on what do I really think is going to be helpful to my audience, and I put my focus there, take a deep breath, then all the techniques that you can learn about connecting in with that higher executive functioning brain instead of the survival brain, which is sending all of those impulses to you to say, be afraid, be very afraid. I mean, it really is what we go through. It's an evolutionary thing that just imagine you're out on the savannah 50,000 years ago and you're facing a group of complete strangers and there you are by yourself. You'd be afraid. That's what happens in us still.
Yeah.
And so it's not unusual. It's normal to stand in front of 200 people or 1,000 people and go, ugh, that's normal. So then when you know that what I'm sharing, I really truly believe in, and I am enough, and it doesn't matter if I miss this word or miss this mark or say or whatever, that's not what people are going to take away. They're going to take away whether I'm authentic and caring and credible in what I'm sharing. And then on top of that, yeah, we can do some other things. We can do some work with regard to getting into that executive mind that's not the survival brain. We can look at technique. We can look at stories and fun and what you are, not me, what you do that expresses you, that will give you that. But that's on top of that foundational sense of okayness.
Yeah. I love that you touched on the biology and like the why, we have this innate natural ability for that fight or flight.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a book I truly enjoyed. I want to say it was like Noah Yavari. It's called Homo sapiens, which is a brief history of humankind.
Yeah.
Which basically talks about that, about how for millions of years, Homo sapiens were having to deal with, fight or flight situations, having to run away from the saber-tooth tiger that, I think we discount it.
Yeah.
That, our biology is naturally telling us things and making us feel things that, you need to almost fight through millions of years of science.
Well, and I think one of the things as a performer, a speaker, all of that I've learned is you don't want to fight it.
Mm.
That's what creates more challenge. Oh man, I'm sorry, because I used to, I'm going to be afraid my legs are going to shake and I'm going to forget the words, and yet all that stuff just freaks you out. And it's more of a embracing, and then having some tools to deal with that, but not to see it as an enemy. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's a part of your biology. It's a part of who you are, which serves you well in some ways.
Yeah.
But not here.
Right. Need to control when to turn that switch on.
Yeah. Well, at least how to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And so you help people craft signature speeches, correct? Mm-hmm. And so what would be, if someone finds themselves with that inner passion to want to be a speaker, that want to be on stage, or perhaps they were invited to be a speaker and they, are unsure even why, but other people love them. What would be some of those initial things they should come to you with? Should they already have, beats of this are the points I want to get to, or do they just need an overlying goal and message to come to you with in order to then help formulate that final speech?
On a very practical level, it's helpful to have an idea of what it is that you want to speak about. Sometimes people come and say, I just don't want to do these ahs or ums or whatever. And I'm saying, there's Toastmasters.
Yeah, I would say Toastmasters is fabulous.
Great place to go.
It's so fun to me. Sorry for a quick tangent. Yeah. Shout out to Toastmasters. I've only gone a couple of times. I've definitely thought about becoming a member because to me, it's so fun.
Yeah. I was a member for years and years. Yeah. It's great. And that's a wonderful place to do that. Mm-hmm. I ask people to share with me. This is going to sound kind of crazy, but if you had 5 minutes to live and you were standing on the top of a cliff, what would be the message you'd want to share?
Oh my goodness.
So if you have an audience of business or you have an audience of whomever, one-on-one, whatever, what is the most important thing for you? What is the message that your heart calls you to share? Because when you have that, and you can shift it depending on your audience.
Okay,
you can take that and shift it because it's about the feelings and about the values, right? So you can create, if I'm standing in front of a business audience and the most important thing I have to share is, bring love to everything you do. If that were my big message, which it is, bring love to everything you do. I can shift that for my business audience, right? Imagine.
Yeah.
I'm about to meet a customer. What is it that you want them to feel, right? What is it that you want them to experience with you? Now, how do we craft that? What are the main points that show up here for your audience? What do they need to know? What do they need to learn? Whatever that happens to be. So I often just go for the gusto with my clients because I want to know what is that one message that when they walk away, I get it.
Yeah.
And everything else is foundational to that and builds that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Right when you said that question, like in what I thought had nothing to do with my craft and what I actually do, but I'm sure there's ways that you could creatively, tie in perhaps, what you do in your craft. But it also depends on the audience is what you're saying. And so
what is it?
Oh, it's just be kind to all to me. And so, I always take everyone at face value and, I always believe be kind to all, nice to all people until proven otherwise, until someone does something wrong to a loved one, I will love you back until you prove me not.
So imagine this. Imagine that you were sharing, I'm your customer.
Oh, yeah,
I'm your customer. So if you were sharing to me, Andrea, here's the most important thing when you do your video, connect with that essence of kindness inside of you. And so whatever you're sharing, whatever piece of information or wisdom or whatever, allow that energy to come forth into your video.
That's beautiful.
That
I'm gonna have to note that down.
And-
I'm gonna borrow that.
see, that's
No,
how you
that's
take
powerful,
what's
yeah.
most important to me and how do I move that through the different audiences that I need to address. Because that makes it about you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that you care about that. And back to the stage fright, if I know that what I'm telling you, I really believe in and care about and is my signature thing I want to say, it helps.
Yeah.
It helps you
And
get
it's truly
connected.
coming from your authentic
Your
voice.
authentic
and it's really
voice.
about what you find most special and,
That's
and most
right.
important at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
And, when I look at your logo, we have this nice, beautiful, deep purple and the yellow. I always want to hear the tale behind how people choose brand colors too. What was your decision behind those brand colors?
Okay. All right. So purple and yellow
Yeah,
are non-depressing colors.
that's true. Yeah.
I didn't know they are also royal, which I like. That
Oh, yeah.
too.
No,
Yeah,
first,
I didn't know
when
that.
I look at that deep purple, my first thing is royalty, is what I think. Like a light of royalty. Because
I
the
didn't
yellow,
know.
kind of bright light, the sun, energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're out in nature
Mhm.
and you see flowers that are purple and yellow, they
Mhm.
will ignite your joy.
That's true.
And what I wanted, so I wanted non-depressive colors.
Yeah.
And part of that is just me dealing with my own stuff. Like if I'm feeling depressed or sad or whatever, I want to be able to look. And if you look at my books,
Yes.
they have purple and
Purple
yellow and
flowers.
green and all of that. Right.
Yeah. So much life. It just
Life.
shows so much life.
Right. And I wanted to communicate. Plus, it's unfolding. It's the lotus. It's the connecting deeper. That's what I wanted to communicate through my logo. So the colors, and I love purple and yellow. It's in my house now.
Yeah.
It wasn't
I
when I
always
did
tell
this.
people, like, they're unsure about brand colors and brand. Like, you need to find a color that you love
Yeah.
to be around because you're going to want to surround yourself with that
Yeah.
brand and be
Yeah.
your brand. And so
Yeah.
those are great. That's a great option. I
Yeah.
love that. And you didn't know royalty? That's amazing.
No, and I also didn't know that, there's different colors based on the chakras, if you believe that. There's different colors, and purple is your root, is your chakra at the top, your crown chakra, I believe. I think I'm right in that. So that
I see Jay back here shaking his head. Yes.
yes, okay. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Isn't it amazing when then things still just fall? It's like when we're editing and we
Right.
pick a music track and we're like, maybe we'll fit, and then it dips right at the perfect
Yeah.
time. You're like, okay, this was the
Yeah.
music track we were supposed to use. No, you love when things just kind of pull
Yeah.
together naturally.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
to me, yellow, I think, is the chakra color for power. It's for your solar plexus, where your power and where I sing from and where I speak from and where I encourage other people to find that source. And then this is your connection, right? And so that's why. So it's very symbolic for me. All right. It's
Yeah.
very much about that.
That's excellent. And well, from your authentic voice, you want to put things that are really important,
Yeah.
and authentic to you.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I did not take the opportunity to talk a little bit about your Super Bowl experience. I'm sorry, I have to, especially even as a sports fan. I am very interested just to hear about the whole vibe. Do you remember who was playing?
Pittsburgh Steelers and Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, please say the Steelers, or it was in the night. It wasn't in the night. So did Dallas win? Did Dallas win?
I think the Steelers
Oh,
won.
thank goodness. Okay.
I have so many stories.
Oh, well, how about you share just one of them with us?
Oh, so, well, at that time I was 20.
So it's 10 years
I
ago.
was not a big football fan.
Okay.
We had played, I traveled 50,000 miles. I played in front of all kinds of audiences. And so playing the Super Bowl was like, oh, that's nice. It wasn't like the Super Bowl.
I think from coming from a non-sports fan, you're just like, man, like for me, I'm just giddy, like for you, just thinking about the experience.
It didn't really, and I knew from college, Danny White,
Okay.
who was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. I'd known him.
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, Danny's going to be there. It's
Right? It's just almost like a normal college
week,
year,
yeah.
right?
And so we went there, and it was great. We had practiced it. It was everybody. I traveled with a group of 50 or 150 people, depending on the gig and the city. This was everybody. This was huge. And it was so much fun. And we did a rehearsal the day before. And I'll never forget this. It's so classic. I have believe it or not, I'm not a real girly girl. Okay. I mean, I was raised in Arizona. We were always outside. Who wore makeup? You were always tanning and, in the swimming pool. And
right, tanning, sweating, or having it come off in the pool.
Yeah. and up with people, we had these dresses on with shorts and shoes, heels. And I thought, well, for rehearsal, I'm not going to put nylons on. I mean, we always wore nylons, right? So I had knee highs on. And I'll never forget, this seems so silly, but it's a memory. I'll never forget these guys I knew that I'd been traveling with for 6 months. They were like my brothers, They go, well, I guess we all know each other now because I had knee highs on. Anyway, I remember that. And I remember being there and performing. And we were down. They gave us seats right down on the 50-yard line, right in the front. So we were right there watching everything. Sullivan, a guy named Sullivan, who was a blind singer, did the national anthem.
Wow.
And we had meet and greets with some of the players. I mean, but I just remember thinking, oh, it's another gig.
Yeah.
It's another gig. Now, it's amazing, and I learned so many things from it. And, just one of those opportunities where you learn from it, and it's exciting.
That's amazing. And, if anyone out there watching, wishes to become a professional performer like you are successfully, any tips you would give to them when they're just starting?
Oh, my. Well, the thing I learned from Up With People, which we were talking about earlier, is I learned everything about professionalism from them. And that meant, how do you stand and not move around so that you're not stealing focus from the person that everybody wants to be focused on. So if you had a group of 50 people and there was somebody standing out front and they were singing, or there were dancers and you're back there, scratching your head, everybody's focus goes to the scratching of the head. So you learned how to participate and how to be on stage and how to be in front of an audience in such a way that you gave focus to the people that deserved, that you wanted to have the focus. We did stage setup, striking the set. We lived with different families everywhere we went. So I lived with hundreds of different families. So you learn how to be with people. I traveled with people from 25 different countries. Many of them didn't speak English when they started. So you learn how to connect with people in lots of ways.
That's pretty beautiful.
It's absolutely lovely. And so I gained a lot of professionalism out of that. You learn how to memorize and how to stand in front of an audience and how to be humble. And the whole bit. So what would be the first thing? Learn your craft. The old saying of learn all the rules so you know when to break them. That comes into my mind.
I love that.
Learn
Say
the
that
craft.
one more time. I love that phrase.
Well, you learn the rules.
So you know how to break them?
So you know how to break them when you can break them.
Okay.
I'm pretty unconventional. I'm a creative person. But when you learn the craft of whatever you're doing, your craft, right? You don't just throw stuff up and go, hey, let's see what happens. Right. You learn your craft. And then you go, you know what? I'm going to break that rule. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it this way. Because then you know what you're doing.
Right.
And you're consciously aware of it.
Not just throwing spaghetti and seeing sticks.
And it takes time. When I first started speaking, and people think this, they think, oh, I'm going to go out and speak and I'll have this down in 6 months. No. What's that, 10,000 hours to master something? It takes a long time to master something and to really develop who you are.
And I'm sure it makes a difference on the type of practice you get when it comes to a stage, because speaking to a conference room of 30 or 40 and then speaking to an auditorium, I would assume it's a slightly different preparation, a slightly different situation.
Yeah, it is. You have to be bigger. If you're standing in a little space, you still want to be yourself. But if you're in front of an audience of 5,000 people and you want to use the stage, you become much more conscious and aware of how you're going to use that stage and what you're going to do at different parts of that stage, and you use it like a tool. It's a vehicle for you. And bottom line, you're still mostly and always focused on being authentic and being yourself.
So you mentioned moving through the stage, and we have the pleasure of doing a lot of different events, for our video production. And we find sometimes that people just want to stay behind the podium.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts of the stay behind the podium versus the work of the stage?
Well, the podium, the lectern is a tool. It's a tool. And I remember one time when I was first starting to speak about this, about your intuition and your inner voice, and one of my first professional gigs was in front of 200 accountants and actuarial people. Fun. Very left-brained. And they hired me to come speak to these people about finding your authentic voice. And I'm like, okay. And so I dressed up in my best banker suit. And I had my, cheaters. And I tried very hard to make this something that they could relate to as they kind of sat back there looking at me like that. Oh. And I used the lectern in this way.
Okay.
I had my notes on it because I totally think one of the ways to deal with stage fright is to have your notes available to you. You don't sit there and read them. You don't sit behind the lectern, but they're there. They're like your security blanket.
Right. You need them.
If you need them, there they are. And who cares? Nobody cares. Right. Nobody cares if you go look at your notes.
And especially if it's like a data point, people would rather, I think, you be accurate than...
Well, and you can use it. So what I did in that particular thing, I had my little cheaters on. They were my security cheaters.
Okay.
I was holding on to something. And I would be telling my stories, and I knew my stories, and I was out, not behind the lectern. And then I'd want to read a quote. I'd want to tell them, I said, let me make sure I get this right. And I'd take my little cheaters, and I'd get behind the lectern, and I'd read my quote to them, and I'd look up, and then I'd also was kind of checking what's coming up. And then I step out behind it. So you can use the lectern.
But don't use it as a crutch is what I'm kind of hearing. Don't stay stuck behind it, unless perhaps the event organizer, for some reasons, forcing you. But.
Some people do. I mean, think about it.
Well, I know for our situation with lighting, sometimes we do. Or like, hey, we were told everyone's staying at the podium. Your spotlight's on the podium. Okay. If you leave the podium, you don't have a spotlight.
And again, it's okay. Yeah. You can do a lot behind a lectern because from wherever, stand up on something if you're short, but wherever you're being seen, you can still bring all of your enthusiasm and your nonverbals and your heart to people, even if you're standing behind a lectern.
And I love that you mentioned it's okay to stand on an apple box. That's kind of what we call those boxes behind the podium for you to be able to stand. It's okay to stand behind the apple box if you need to get taller, because it's better to be able to see more of yourself than just that little bit of your head peeking over. And so don't be afraid to use an apple box or ask for one.
One thing I want to make sure people know to do is get to your location, if at all possible, 30 minutes to an hour early, and check it all out. Walk around it. Do all your AV. Do all your sound checks. Do everything. Get comfortable. See where the lectern is. Know that you're going to be, outside of the lectern. Do everything that you need to do to get comfortable, because that's going to help you in all kinds of ways. And then when people come, you can meet and greet them.
Right.
Yes. Say hello to people. I used to tell people, honest to goodness, to deal with my own stage fright. People I know, I'd say, would you sit in the front row? Because they'd be sitting in the back somewhere. I'd say, please sit in the front row. And then I had people I could look to get that comfort.
That's very strategic, because normally, when people walk into a party or any situation, you like to have that one confidant. You like to have that one person that you trust, that you can be yourself with, and, have your authentic voice with. And so that's a really good strategic tip, is to have those connections with the audience. Make a connection with a few people. Then ask them to be in the front so you have that safety set of eyes to go to whenever maybe those nerves start creeping up, and just look for the safety set of eyes.
And they will, almost everybody will. I've gone to total strangers who I didn't know anybody in the audience. And they were sitting 2 or 3, or maybe nobody's in, nobody wants to be in the front row. Nobody's there.
See, I will do, just yesterday I was at an event and I sat right in the front row, because I do feel I hate that for production sense. I hate that for the speaker. It's such a weird feeling. When no one wants to be that close to you. You start smelling yourself.
Well, and it's so funny. I would go and I'd say, would you guys mind sitting in the front? And they'd look and I'd say, really, it would mean so much to me. Okay. And they'd sit in the front and I'd say, let me tell you why. And I would share with them. And then I'd look at them and they'd be going, really, so they're cute. Like, now they're your allies, right? And they might be strategic and they'd smile. And then the people that are giving you the side eye, I don't look at them. It's not that they're wrong or bad. It's not that. It's just not helping me, right? So I don't look at that.
I should probably try that. I feel like I gravitate more to those faces that I'm like, I'm gonna crack you. I'm gonna make you laugh. I'm gonna make you shake your head. Yes. I'm gonna like it becomes almost like a goal for me when I see those types of people. It's like I need to get to you.
Well, and it's okay to look at them. You just don't dwell there.
Yeah.
And the thing is when you have a big audience, you want to look in every space. Because people, if I look over here, if I'm not looking at you, they're going to think you're looking at me, right? You're not ignoring people. And so you want to, and I'll look at them. I just don't stay there.
Yeah.
Again, it comes down to when you know that you're enough. I don't have to prove myself. And not everybody's going to like what you have to say.
Right.
They aren't.
Right. They were just told by their boss to show up. And
that's okay. And maybe they had a bad day.
Yeah. I know. That's the thing. You never know what someone else is going through. So you can't ever take it too personally.
Yeah, for sure.
That is very true. And so, we were talking about people not wanting to sit in the front. Why do you think that's the case a bit? You think that maybe it's like a comedy show and they're going to get picked on?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're afraid you're going to call on them.
I know that's my husband's biggest fear. We can't ever set too close in a comedy show. He's like afraid. He's like, we're going to become, I would play along. But,
in a comedy show that's possible. I don't know why.
I guess you never know when you potentially could be walking into a borderline comedy show. Maybe that's what everyone's deeper fear is.
Or just, it's like going to a movie theater. Do you sit in the front row?
Right. That's true.
If you have a few rows back, you have a better
view.
feel and a better view. I'm really not sure.
So maybe you can leave some comments in the chat. I'd be interested to know,
Yeah.
Are you a person who sits up in the front? Or are you someone who's kind of reserved in the back? And why or why not? Interesting.
There are, one of the things that I've trained in neurolinguistic programming talks about people's different ways of processing information. And there are definitely people, and I treat this in my 5 whys. So when you're putting together a presentation, you want to make sure that you take care of everybody's needs in your audience. Okay. And one of those needs is questions and answers. Okay. If you say something and I don't get it, right? I mean, there's the person has to know. And the reason they have to know is they can't move on without knowing. It'll always be there.
Questions in the mist, or
absolutely.
Oh, so
now as a keynoter, even though keynoters now are doing that more often, that's different if you're just doing a monologue or you're just doing a keynote. But if you're doing any kind of training, any kind of presenting, you have to have your questions throughout because there will be somebody in the audience that has to, and they're not being obnoxious. They're not, trying to get it. They have to know. They can't move on. It's how their brains work.
Interesting.
And so you'll have the person in the front row. And maybe this is what I'm circling back to the front row.
Yeah.
Maybe that person has to have that front space to really process, and they're raising their hands. And that's why. And so I often say, I'm going to take questions throughout. I'm not waiting till the end. In fact, that's like death.
Oh,
I'm taking them every 10
Reaper, apparently.
Every 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, questions, comments.
Okay. I might need to adapt that a little more. I've always been very much to hold it for the end because I might answer your question and I also have a ton of content to get through and there's no way I'm going to get it through if I'm answering everyone's questions in the midst because I that's what I've always personally felt. So I've always been one to go through all content, then save those last 10 minutes to be like, okay, what questions came up?
Well, that's been a standard format.
Yeah.
And they even do people closing and then they take questions. No, you have the last word. You do questions, then you close. But you do questions throughout because you'll lose people.
It's a good tip. No, it's a good tip, especially when it comes to, everything that I do. I have the opportunity of speaking for SCORE, the Arizona Commerce Authority, other organizations around the Valley. Yeah. It's all very educational based. Like, what's the social media distribution roadmap? All the different social platforms and what types of videos should get posted there. And I tend to try to just get through it all because I'm always so scared I'm not going to get through all the content. And so that's always been
Think about it, though. Think about it. What you're wanting to do, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but as a speaker, what you want to do is you want to provide value.
100%.
And you want them to walk away with what they need or want to walk away with, if at all possible. And so all of us do this. I do this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to teach you everything I know in 15 minutes. It's not going to happen. And so what's more important? That you get your questions asked. You. Right? Because you may walk away, that question that you get answered may be the thing that you walk away with that's the most valuable to you. And I can't know that.
Right.
What I can do is put your needs first and foremost and back off on the amount of content so that I leave plenty of time for you to get your needs met. And then if I have time, keep talking.
Keep them questioning. Yeah, that's true.
Talking.
But at the very least, for at least that particular course, I should potentially stop per platform. And before we move on to a different platform, make sure there's no questions. And I can always just bring out my East Coast superhero talk and just talk a little faster.
It's so funny because I do work with people who do conferences. Like sometimes clients will call me and say, oh, we got clients and they're all subject matter experts and they're not speakers. And we want you to work with them on their content and their presentation. And almost to a person, subject matter experts have 45 minutes of stuff they want to get through. And they're not realizing, and this is totally understandable, they're not realizing that there are people out there that need to understand and comprehend, and they need to see you as a person. They need to react and interact with you and have an experience. I always say they need to have an experience of you, not just your information.
That's a good point.
That is what they're going to take away.
Because, I definitely identify more as that subject matter expert. Yes. You're hiring me to teach you some things.
Right.
But I guess, we do feel maybe that, I don't know if it's pressure or just that need that, we want to give value, but maybe we're not considering the human aspect behind just that information. They didn't want to have a textbook spit at them. They wanted to connect with the human.
They can read, they can go to Google.
Yeah.
You can learn almost anything you want to learn that way. You don't need a speaker or a trainer. With a client yesterday, she does HR, speaks on policies and practices and all that. And I asked her this question. I said, how do you want them to feel when they leave?
Yeah.
Feel.
Yeah.
Not know, not be clear. We want that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you want them to feel? And she just went, I don't ever think about that.
I don't think I ever think about that. I think I most of the time make them feel almost overwhelmed because there's wow, there's so much. But yeah.
How do I want them to feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
I want them to feel excited. I want them to feel
I feel like I want them to feel confident, but I do feel a lot of people say wow, this is a lot more than I thought. So I feel like that's a common response I hear.
Less is more.
But,
I mean, really, that you have another shot.
Yeah.
If you build into your keynote or your training, okay, if you want more information.
Well, granted, I do have the upsell. So, I do say, okay, if you're overwhelmed, good thing is we can do one-to-one training. Right. We can do the management for you. So I do lead into that. But, at the same time, I don't want everyone just to feel overwhelmed. I do want people to feel like they could do it on their own. They have the skill set and the abilities. It's just now the do you want to. Like YouTube optimization, we have experience on.
You do. Well, and I mean, please, right? The thing to think about is, how do I want you to feel about your connection with me and your experience with me? I want you to feel fundamentally, this is going to sound, maybe this isn't for everybody, but especially when it comes to speaking and feeling scared and all of that, I want you to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I overwhelm you, if I give you too much, if you walk out going, oh my gosh, I'm not going to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to know that the experience you're going to have with me is you're going to feel safe as you enter new territory, because that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Any unknown is scary. I don't care if it's this unknown or that unknown. It's scary. So you have a partner, a coach, a trainer, a consultant who's going to support you in walking into the unknown and feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to show you that by how I show up here, right? And how I want you to feel when we're done. And then out of that safety, I can feel excited. Ooh, I'm curious. I'm excited because I feel okay about moving forward.
Right.
Even if I don't know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. But it still feels like a safe space.
It's a safe space. And Taylor's safe and Andrea's safe. And, they're going to be there for me.
Yeah. And Andrea, you have these two fabulous books in front of us here. Are there any, tales that you love reading or watching? What are your favorite books and movies?
I knew you were going to ask me that. And I thought about, what am I going to say? Well, the thing I'm drawn to read, obviously I read a lot of things that are helping me in my business. Mm-hmm. Like I think the most recent thing I read was Positive Intelligence. And then I read, I am certified as a leadership circle profile deliverer. And I read the leadership book on that. So I read a lot of stuff that I think is going to help me serve my clients better. And they're great for me. I think one of the other things I read lately is called Outlive. Have you heard of this book?
I haven't. I'm doing the exceptional presenter right now.
Okay. So this is Outlive is about your health.
Oh.
Okay. And so it's about, and it's for your health as your life. They call it now not lifespan, but health span. And so this guy wrote this book about how to really live in a way that supports healthy living. All right. In all kinds of facets. And Hugh Jackman was a big spokesperson for this for a while.
Oh.
But I actually got this from my son, who's very much into integrative care and natural healing and that type of thing. And so I read that recently. I found that fascinating and very helpful.
All right.
So a lot of what I read is not about how to speak.
That's great, though. Because sometimes, too, it's just entertainment. Sometimes you just need to have a switch of the brain just to relax. And so, or to rejuvenate. And so what are some things that you do here in Arizona to, rejuvenate or to have that, healthy wholeness in your life?
Rejuvenate. Well, I sing. Right.
And what type of singing do you do?
Well, these days I mostly sing for what do I call it? New Thought Spiritual Centers. Mm-hmm. So I get to sing what I want. They're not all gospel songs or anything like that. They can be anything as long as they have the right message. Right. So I love to sing. That's been something I've done since I was this big. So singing fulfills that a lot. I don't know, what do? I go out to lunches and movies and theater and, I like to dance and do improv and...
You just like to have some fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just all kinds of things like that. I watch a lot of YouTube, mostly for tips.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Excellent.
I like stand-up comedians. I do. Speaking of stand-up comedians, I do enjoy stand-up comedians.
Nice.
Not all of them, but some of them.
Not all of them, no. You can't like everyone. Everyone's different. It's like liking every type of author. Like everyone's different. Everyone has their own genre of sorts. And so you said you like going out to restaurants, but and if you're from here in Arizona, what are some local shout outs? I've lived here for, 15 plus years or so, and I still feel like I've hardly cracked the surface of what's around.
My neck of the woods is North Central Phoenix.
Okay.
So there's a place called Timo, which is, I think it's a kind of Brazilian thing. Yeah, it's a smaller venue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timo is a place that I like to go. I kind of like the smaller places.
Well, yeah, those are always the great little holes in the walls, which we'll put links in the show notes to some of these places. So I always like to kind of know, what are local spots you want to give shout outs to?
Well, there's another place, and I can't even, is it Rick's? It's not Rick's. It's next to Lucy's at 16th Street and Bethany Home. It's right next to it. It's an old school Phoenix dive bar.
Okay.
Dark. You go in, you're like, I'm in a cavern here, but it's just old school. People all know each other. It's kind of like the Cheers of North Central Phoenix. What is the name of that place? I can't think of the name of it, but it's right next door. You wouldn't even know there was anything there. There's just a door.
Well, hearing those crossroads makes me think of our mutual friend and how we actually originally got connected.
Greg, right.
Shout out Greg Peterson and the Urban Farm. Yeah. I know you were able to help out. Can you share a little bit more about, how you helped him and what that event was about?
Greg and I lived a street apart. For,
wow.
I don't know, a couple decades.
I can't believe that. I've been to his house so many times to document it and everything. And I never knew you were right there.
Well, he was 13th place.
Yeah.
And I was 13th Street.
Oh, wow.
And I lived there for
I went down 13th Street numerous times trying to find 13th place.
And I didn't know. And then Greg and I met I met him at a restaurant that was like a family eating space. Like you just sit at a big table with everybody.
That's fun.
And I met Greg there.
Yeah.
And we got to talking. And he also attended a spiritual center that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw him there. And so I just kind of saw him and went, hey, don't I know you?
Yeah.
And we started talking, and I found out he lived at 13th Place and I lived at 13th Street. And so I would sometimes get his mail because we had the same number.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I'd go over to Greg's house. Here's your mail, Greg, type thing. And we just got to know each other over time. And then he found out what I did, which was branding, but branding based on story.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so he engaged me to work with his team because he was rebranding.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked with his team over time to help them engage a new story and what that would look like, et cetera. And that's when I met you.
Yes.
Because they would do these events here in Phoenix.
I think it was one of the fruit tree launches that we had.
Well, it wasn't. There was an event. He was having speakers
Yeah.
and he was speaking. So he wanted me to help him with the people who were speaking and the launch. And you were there.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's how I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small world. It really is. Arizona, I've noticed, because I'm originally I was born in, upstate New York. If you're not from the city, upstate, from upstate. And I grew up mostly in Frederick, Maryland, which was, like farms and cows. And it was a smaller community. But coming here to Arizona, it's like a small, big community. It's a city with a small town feel. It's amazing that you can go to a grocery store and run into people you know.
It's still kind of like that. I don't find it as much like that. I'm always surprised I don't know somebody.
Oh.
I think that's wow, this place has grown. I don't know anybody.
Well, I guess, you've been here enough. You've seen the growth. Yeah. That's probably like how I feel when I go back east now. I'm amazed to see the development. I'm like, wait, how do they fit that much stuff in this cornfield? This was a cornfield growing up. And so perhaps it's that kind of, that proximity change that you're like, wait a second, this used to be so small.
Well, and I think if you're in that area, like Greg and I were in that north central area, you do start to see people in the same spots because it's your local.
Yeah.
Right? You're right there. Yeah. Now, coming out here to do this. I mean, I have a friend now who lives further out. All my family lived out in the East Valley, but out Gilbert, Chandler, Apache Junction.
Oh my goodness.
Way out there. But now I have some friends that live out there. So if I want to see them, it's like an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you've seen a lot of changes. It's been definitely a lot more developed, the 202, the 303.
I think I was born here.
Yeah.
And I think we had the 17.
Wow.
Maybe the 10. Yeah. The cities were separate.
Wow.
Yeah, you'd go through cotton fields to get from like Tempe to Phoenix. Pinnacle Peak did not exist. I mean, Pinnacle Peak was one restaurant where they cut your tie off, right? That was it, and anything south of Broadway if you were at 48th Street. My boyfriend lived on 48th Street in Southern. Okay. It was farmland. There was nothing out there.
When I moved here, I lived right at like Priest and Guadalupe area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that being nothing because there was so much. There's even like that Arizona Grand Resort around that area.
Yeah. There was. I mean, Gilbert was nothing. I mean, it was a cow town. I mean, none of that. I remember that because we'd go in from Tempe. I grew up in Tempe, and we'd go into Phoenix to the Fox Theater to watch a movie, and you felt like you were doing a day trip. I mean, really, it was like, let's go in and watch. It was special.
Yeah, well, it's like how I felt back east, being like, let's go to D.C. for the day, Yeah. And so it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's different.
It's different. Well, I love Arizona. I truly do. I love, really growing some roots here and growing a family here. And so I just think it is a beautiful state. And there's so much that it has to offer.
Well, you can really shift what you're seeing in 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And go up north, and all of a sudden you're in pine trees, and yeah.
Oh, that was the thing when I first moved here. I never had been to the state. never had stepped foot in the state before choosing to move here. And I came in way too north, and I came in at Flagstaff. And I was like, what in the world? I was so shocked. Like, why is that? I thought it was a desert. Why is there palm trees? Or not palm trees, but pine trees. And I was so confused. And then you go down south and you saw like the red rock. I'm like, oh, this is gorgeous. Like, what is all of this? Had no idea about the red rock or anything like that. And then I, went to Tempe. And I was like, oh, okay, here's a little more. But I was still shocked to see like how green and luscious it was. Like, there's more green grasses here than there was back east. But I think because back east it was so picky about the water usage. The farmers have to use the water. And so you don't water your lawn. You don't, wash your car really. You only take showers for an X number of time. And so it was such a, in one drive, such a culture like, whoa, there's pine, whoa, there's not, whoa, there's red rocks, like, what is Arizona?
Well, it's so funny. As kids, we would watch the Newlywed Game on TV.
Oh, fun.
And they would send people, the big gift that they got when they won, the big prize was they would go to Scottsdale, Arizona. And we would laugh. We thought that was hilarious. Those poor people, because it was one street, right? It was like with, the one downtown street, Scottsdale Road, and they had, the ice cream shop and then this. But we thought that was those poor people. They're going to Scottsdale. There's nothing in Scottsdale. But this was when, now, clearly it's different. But at the time, we thought that was hysterical. We thought, oh my gosh, that's no kind of prize.
That's so funny. Yeah, Arizona wasn't even like a radar. Like I remember the year that Kurt Warner brought the Cardinals to the Super Bowl against the Steelers. Yeah. Like, wait, Arizona? Yeah. Arizona has a team? What's Arizona? Yeah. We just kind of forgot about it back east, know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then you come here and it's pretty amazing.
It's different now.
And then when I was researching, once I knew I was moving to Arizona, I was even like, ooh, Scottsdale sounds fancy. I was like, this is where all the schmanky people go.
Now it is now. Yeah. It wasn't then.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of good spots. I like everywhere here. There's little gems everywhere you look. Yeah. It's just a different type of gem. Depends on what you're in the mood for that day.
Now you fly in when you're coming in and it's just like, wow, this place is huge.
Which that's where, to kind of tie it back around, I'm amazed that it still has some of that small town charm and feel that it truly is so huge. And it does feel like a wow when you fly in, but yet you do have some of that small community.
Well, it's laid out in a way too, which I find interesting, is there's little pockets of neighborhoods you don't expect. Mm-hmm. And everything is mixed in. Mm-hmm. It's not like, well, these are the fancy folks and these are the not. And it's all mixed in together. And that's the lovely thing. And the other thing, I've had people move here from other parts of the country where they don't talk to anybody, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's kind of in their own space. In my neighborhood, you're just walking in a car and you go, hey, everybody waves and stuff. I have family members that came from other places. I can't believe they waved at me. What are they waving at me? Just to be friendly. Hi, and they can't get over it still. It's like, these are total strangers waving at me. And I think that I don't know where that comes from unless it's just the Western attitude.
I was raised that way a bit too. I've always been that way. I can't be in too close knit. If I get eye contact, I'm a smile and a wave, or if I'm too close to you, or if we're sitting in an airplane together, unless you're plugged in or reading something, I gotta have that connection. So
that's right. We're like that.
Yeah. So I think maybe it's just a people thing. Because I'll ride my bike to bring my son to school. We'll ride bikes because it's so close, and I'll just ride my bike back. Anyone I see out in their yard, hey, I don't know any of their names. So I'm saying hi.
It's nice. I think that at the core, people are very kind. Mm-hmm. That's what we want, and that's who we are. And so you see that, and it really connects us. Yeah. As humans, it reminds us that we're connected. Yeah.
That we're all just in it together.
We're all in it together. Well, and I think that's what's important about speaking, just to bring it back, to give people that sense of people are people. They all put their pants on one leg at a time. And I think when you get nervous, and this is something I started to learn up with people, because I met a lot of really famous people, and I've known a lot of really famous people throughout my career that I've met or hired or done something with. They're really just people, and they most of them appreciate when you connect with them as people, and when you get to know that, then you can just kind of relax because we're all that. We're all that. And it makes it so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I just thank you so much for being one of those good people out here in the world and, just helping people just be more, courageous to share their stories. And so, what you're doing and helping people, because everyone, I believe that you would probably agree, has a story.
Yeah.
And anyone in any type of leadership position needs to feel strong within their own story to share it and to help other people lead and find their authentic voice as well.
Well, we need each other. Yeah, we need what everybody has to give. And everybody does have that. And sometimes just supporting them to discover what that is and to find that. I've seen it over and over again when they discover that and they feel they have permission to express that. And that's what makes them unique and wonderful and beautiful in their lives. And they have that support. Again, that support and that safety to discover it and to put it out there. It's amazing. It's amazing. I to this day, did a training recently. We went through a whole thing about how to develop their story. And the very last thing that happened is this woman stood up and she was brave. And in front of her peers or her group, shared her story. There was not a dry eye in the house. And everybody was just amazed that they didn't know this about her and she shared her story. That's why I do what I do. I want people to feel that essence and that they have that. And everybody has that. And we all need it with each other. That's the connection. And the things that get in that way, the critical voice in our head, all of that stuff that comes in, there are ways to deal with that you don't have to be a slave to those voices. And you don't have to allow it. It may come up, but you don't have to allow it to prevent you from expressing yourself. And that's really why I do what I do. That gives me a great joy.
I love that. Yeah. We're going to put all the links to you on the show notes. But if people want to work with you, if they want to find that authentic voice and helping build that signature talk or just stay connected with you and continue to learn from you, I know you're amazing with posting great tip videos for people.
With your help. I mean, it wouldn't happen without you.
Oh, thank you. But
That's true.
We need your knowledge, though. Without you, it wouldn't happen. So how can people stay connected with you and all the amazing things that you do and offer for people?
Well, they can go to my website at andreabeaulieu.com, and there's a sign up there to sign up. I put something new out every couple weeks that they can get on my email. And it really, truly is just a piece of information. There's no sales. There's no do this, do that. It's just a piece of information. Sometimes it's written. Sometimes it's a video.
Yes.
So there's that. They can email me. Andrea at andreabeaulieu.com. They can call me. I mean, there's lots of ways. Just go on my website. There's lots of ways. I'm happy to talk with them.
Excellent. Well, thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me. It's such a pleasure to connect with you in person. So if you are looking to become a better leader, if you're looking to become a speaker, or if you're just looking to have more confidence with your own authentic voice, I highly suggest you reach out to Andrea Beaulieu because she is just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just delighted. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Tales with Taylor. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Financial Potion YouTube channel to never miss an episode.